Welcome to the Duo Athlete Podcast.
We're Shayna and Frank, a couple of athletes balancing training, racing, work, and life.
This is where we talk about the honest version of endurance sports, biking, running, relationships, and everything that happens between the workouts.
Bike, run, real life.
Let's get started.
Okay, so team dynamics. For team dynamics for Unbound. So there was some old teammates that were going, and I told them that I wanted to try to, stay with them for the 200 miles and try to work together because, it's nicer to have some friends along than not be by yourself fighting the wind.
Right.
And then some guys from our new team, they wanted to try to hang on. So that was going to be five of us at the start. And there's a little bit of pressure because you want to, try to keep people together, try to not blow yourself up off the start so you can be there at the end, to help out, because that's kind of a bad feeling when you're getting help early on and then, you can't help at the end because you can't even keep up. So,
Right.
You don't know who's the strongest on the day and who's going to ride a little too hard. You don't want to drop everybody, but yeah, so it's a little bit of pressure. It's also fun. It's exciting when you get to help out teammates and friends. So, when you're all alone and it's just your race, it's a little different dynamic. So, yeah, I don't know. As far as the team dynamic, so we had that title, but you were discussing running the team, and I was going to ask you how that is, how you feel about that.
Right. Yeah. When I saw team dynamics as a talking point, my dynamics is a lot different because I am the president of the nonprofit team. So that's what I think of as trying to be a good leader or set a good example, or that cat's going to send me over the edge.
I mean, we could start the whole thing over. Set the cat up in another room.
He just has the zoomies. I mean, we're only 10 minutes in.
Yeah. So you actually, what was it, a year ago that the owner changed hands of our local bike shop, and we didn't really have a team. I was on another team, Kentucky.
It was
Wind Wave.
it was over a year ago now, because it was last winter that we started even discussing putting a team together under new ownership at the local bike shop, Cycling Solutions. So, yeah, they changed hands, and then we started putting a team together. I had a vision for it to be organized and try to get Evansville. A lot of people in Evansville do race. It just wasn't under an organized fashion or under a unified name, I guess. So just try to be, I was trying to be better for the community and try to get people together that already, they do race, and then encourage more people to try to get out and race because it's good for you, because it's not just showing up to a race. It's everything that happens before you race. It's being concerned about your sleep, being concerned about how many carbs you're eating a day. It's being mindful of, all the things, what you're putting in your body. Is being researching training software. I could go on a whole tangent about why being competitive is better for you, just overall, just to ride a bike. You ride with a purpose.
Yeah, and you surround yourself with other people that look up to you, and you look up to them, and they're out there training and kind of feed off each other. So the team dynamic, works out for everyone.
Yeah, everyone pushes each other to be better, or you can use each other as inspiration. So you see somebody with a little more experience than you, a little more miles under their belt, and you're like, well, with enough training, I bet I could do that time. I could do that course. I could do that mileage.
Yeah.
I could PR that, So, yeah, just the whole community effort putting together a team. I don't know, I like it so far. But again, when you're the leader of an organization, you just look at it totally different than being in a pack of riders, trying to help each other out through one race. I have a big, what they would call a 50,000-foot view of trying to make sure that everyone is happy and healthy and we're doing enough for the team themselves. Like, there's no point in organizing all this if you're not trying to help the people out. I didn't put all this together just to say, oh, look what I did. I can organize stuff.
It was a lot of work. It wasn't just the bike shop. We're just going to make a team. You actually made a nonprofit, like a legit business.
It's a 501c3. It's a legitimate business filed with the state and the IRS and all that happy stuff that goes along with it.
We have a board and we have officers and
We do. Well, I wanted it. We can't do anything. Again, back to the team dynamics. You can't do anything like that by yourself. I didn't start a podcast by myself.
You did not.
I did not. It's not easy to do anything by yourself. And I'm going to say that lots of people that accomplish great things do not do that by themselves. They have some sort of support system.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So,
there's always somebody in the background
yeah.
supporting, helping out.
Yeah, like your crew.
Yeah.
Your crew. So, yeah, that's the dynamics for me is I worry about being a good leader. That's what it boils down to.
So how much time has that taken away from you personally, your training, and when you have to think about the team, being the leader of the team?
Well, it occupies my thoughts probably on a daily basis because we have the team chat that goes on, that I check. We're currently in the middle of organizing Dragon's Back XC. So if you're listening to this and it's springtime, early summer 2026, you have time to sign up and complete the race. So that's a whole other thing, putting on an event. That's a whole other monster. So
we could spend time talking about just the race and what it's taken to get that
just trying to
off
be
the ground.
Yeah, just trying to be a team on a board with sponsors and trying to organize a race and get that off the ground. That's its whole thing. That doesn't even go along with being on a team. That just goes along with an entire topic of organizing an event. So yeah, takes up more time right now, which makes me feel bad because I don't think we've spent enough time on doing team rides. We put a lot of energy into that last year.
Yeah.
If I was just going to go off on a side tangent, we put a lot of energy into doing team rides and making sure we got at least one mountain bike, big mountain bike ride in and one big gravel ride in. And we have not done that yet, but that's also on my mind. So yeah, if you're asking how much of this eats up my brain space, it could be a lot. It depends on how much I got going on at work too, but don't tell my boss.
I mean, you could shut down everything that you're doing for yourself and focus all of it on the team and still could do more. Do everything you could and still more.
Yeah.
It does feel like this year, because we haven't had the team rides, that it feels like we've drifted a little bit, but we still have time for that.
Yeah, I'm not, and that just might be a perception of ours because there's lots of people that are riding together and organizing rides and wearing the jersey and they're going to the group rides and everyone seems pretty solid on their training. I follow everyone on Strava. Everyone looks pretty solid to me. So it could just be, that's another thing that you get worried about, I guess, is the perception. Am I doing enough? Is we missing out here? Do we have missed opportunities to get people together? But I mean, we created a community, the Discord, the private Discord, so that everyone can chat at each other. So that's the best app or messaging platform I can think of to try to keep everyone together as a team and get communications out there.
Yeah, we're still supporting each other and watching each other ride and train and giving each other kudos and comments and And it is early in the season. You know, the racing has just kind of started.
Yeah.
We've got some big events that we're training for,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the race that we're trying to put on is taking up a lot of brain space for sure. Like me as the president of Evansville Mountain Bike Association, we've talked about putting on an event for a long time, but no one really wants to come together to, you know, because everyone realized how much work it was going to be.
Right.
And, you know, so we focus on keeping the trails open, and it's cool that we get to collaborate with the race team, you know, because I'll be out there clearing the trail and rebuilding some features that need to be rebuilt. And of course we'll be doing the timing, and you'll be doing registration. And
Yeah. I think that's a good collaboration. Like that speaks to each organization's strengths. So the Dragon's Back, you have a board of CycSol Racing that's pretty high energy and willing to put the time in to get it done. And in contrast, you have a board on EMBA that are very experienced. That's a very experienced board. There's a lot of years
yeah,
on that board, and they know exactly how to take care of trails and get things done and get it organized, and just on this really low key, I guess, type. You're going to have the trails are going to be perfect as they can be. If it doesn't rain, like that'll be the fastest the trails will ever be because EMBA's working on them. And you have the flip side, which is the CycSol board putting in the hours doing registration and timing and the sponsorship coordination and getting tents out there and all the things to try to make an event like cool. I guess that was the other motivation too, was I don't want to be out there with a clipboard and a pencil with no technology kind of race. Like all the things as a racer, like if I show up to a race and there's at least somebody with a megaphone and there's at least some place to look at timing, like that means something to me, that you put time into doing the race the correct way, or the way that I want to see results at least.
yeah. I think there's a minimum of things. Like you can try to feel like you're going overboard with it, with the podiums and the backdrop and the arch and, you know, the scoring, timing, the food trucks. And like we had all the ideas, and sometimes it seems like a lot, but I mean, if we can pull it off, it's going to be a really cool event that, you know, people are going to want to look forward to every year. So I'm kind of excited about it. I think we can do it.
Yeah. And it's, again, yes, we want to organize a race because we love racing our bikes, but everyone that's organizing this race is not going to get to race their bike. So it's
I was getting ready to ask you something like that along those lines. So.
Yeah, like it's more about getting the recognition out at scales, getting the local. There's not a local cross country race anywhere. You have to drive 2 hours minimum to get to a cross country race. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 2 hours to get to a cross country race from here.
I might correct you.
You are going to correct me?
Well, I mean, there's Ben Hall's there's a Ben Hall's race.
Okay, you're right.
So
there's Ben Hoss. That's new,
but
though.
That's yeah.
brand new. They just did that last year. Okay, so now we have two. We have two in the region.
Yeah, but you're talking about a Dino race, the Indiana series, and they're all hours away.
Well, any race is hours away.
Yeah.
Really. So it's more about getting there's a lot of people that ride at scales, and they ride at scales a lot, but they're not going to travel to go race. So, I mean, one of our friends that kind of proves my point. One of our friends that we ran into at the grocery store was like, "Oh, I'm preparing for this." Like she changed her routine to train for a race.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right? Like if you want to think about the impact that you have on people, and that was one example. There's just one person that we put the bug in their ear. Hey, there's a race at Scales, and like she's probably done 50,000 laps out there.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's everyone that we know. That's their local trail.
Yeah.
So they know every corner and every G out and every place to brake and accelerate and rest and so when you think, okay, there's a race at Scales now, I've literally been training for this my whole career.
Yeah.
You know.
But even she said that she was putting in extra time to get ready for it.
So that's one person we're motivating to ride a little more
At
and to
least.
focus a little bit.
Yeah, that we've heard of. So you know there's
and
more.
it's everyone who's signed up.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be out there. They probably want to know, like I've got friends who are going to support, you know, the from a couple hours away or at least an hour away that don't really race XC anymore, but because we are trying to, you know, put on the race as a fundraiser and we've supported them, they're like, heck yeah. Like when
Nice.
is it and when can we come and kind of get a tour of the course, which I don't necessarily know the course, but I'll just give them a tour of the whole trail.
Yeah, I think the course is technically a secret until.
I kind of think I know, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's almost the whole trail.
I think the race director is keeping that under wraps until we have to put out a information packet. So, but yeah, but see that again, there's more community there with getting other. I mean, they're from another state. They're in Kentucky. So once again, that's bringing more people together to race locally as a community.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Having all my friends at one spot.
Yeah.
All my biking friends anyway. And what I was going to ask you is, because I remember the YMCA, the director back then was really into triathlons, and he pulled some strings and he got an Xterra to come to Scales Lake. And I was in the midst of like kind of rebuilding, opening up some sections of trail that had been closed a long time. People had stopped riding there for a while and it gotten grown up. And so I was working on it a lot. I was a trail guy. And so they got with me to set up the bike course. And of course, if you have people from all over the country coming to your local trail, I busted my ass.
Right.
I raked that whole 5 miles. Like I weeded, just like drug a lawnmower around it and marked it. And, you know, and then the day of the race, I got to stand there and watch people racing on my home course. And I couldn't hardly stand it because I've never raced there. So
Right.
I think that year I decided I need to learn how to swim, because if this is coming back, I'm doing this. So we're putting on this race at Scales now, and we're going to be doing the volunteering and watching people race at Scales. And how are you going to feel about that?
Right. I don't know, because my heat map is almost as red as everybody else's on Strava for the amount of laps I put in there. And it hasn't really crossed my mind, I guess, because I've just been neck deep in the admin process of it.
Well, maybe next year it'll kind of run itself, or
I doubt it, but you could be hopeful. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I would be one of the locals that one of the expert women would be racing against, and I know every rock and route, and I know when somebody moves something. I know when 2 inches.
Where did that route go?
Yeah, I know when 2 inches of a route is missed. Like I turned around and ran back over the weekend. I'm like, hey, that route, that's not there anymore. Someone cut it. I see it. You're not getting by me, because I not only do I ride out there, I run it. So I ride it one direction and I run it backwards.
Yeah.
Now I know both sides of that route and rock and the trees.
Yeah, we may not get to our topics here, because I have a couple things came to mind on the run yesterday. We were out running, and there was a teammate that was riding, and he's like, "Oh, it's Frank and Shayna," and I thought that was pretty cool. Just, you know, I guess people can see our Strava and that we run together and we ride together, and
Yeah.
like, you know, if he sees you, I'm going to be right behind you.
Yeah.
And so we're getting known as we're always doing stuff together, and that was pretty cool. And then another thing, there was a younger kid that was out riding that I hadn't seen before. And I always have the urge to like talk about IMBA and talk about the group rides and try to, you never know if someone just prefers to ride by themselves or
if
just
they-
getting started.
Yeah, if they just don't know. Yeah.
And a lot of times when I invite people to the group rides, because I do it a lot, and they're like, well, I need to ride more before I show up. And you want to say, like, there's people showing up that we have to wait on, and no one cares. Like, people, you just want to see new people join, but it's hard to get that across to somebody who's just starting out, because they don't want to be waited on. They don't want to be the last guy before the group rolls off again, or they just don't know where their skills are. So that was what I was thinking, that like I like seeing younger people out on the trail, and we always want to try to get younger people involved in the club because, you know, we've been doing it a long time, and it's nice to have fresh faces and fresh ideas, and somebody's going to have to take over the club eventually. And so I think having this race might bring some people out that, you know, that we don't really know, and we can expand the family basically.
Yeah. We might be able to expand the team a little. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen when you put on something that you just want to get the community together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure we can talk about it when the next couple of steps, when we get the more registrations in and more of the organization, we can keep talking about it. But yeah, it all circles back to, we're on topic. That's team and friend and community dynamics for sure. So we're definitely on topic, but we can continue on to how it is when you go to a big race like that and your partner can't. I only have so many PTO days a year at the moment, so yeah, you can talk about that a little.
Yeah, it's I mean, I was used to doing stuff by myself, you know, before we met, and now I've gotten to where I like having you around. So that's good. It's a little tough.
Yeah.
It's a little tough to being away, and
yeah.
The SAG crew, you know, I like seeing your face, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, you're racing and doing events too, so you're not the SAG crew. You know, I wanna support you whenever I can.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you'd like to see me there, you know, handing you stuff or keeping you motivated, especially when something happens and you're stranded out there, then and you're, you know, 5-6 hours away.
Right.
That's kind of tough. It was nice to be able to call you on the phone in the headset and talk to you while I thought I was going to be out there all night.
Well, it was definitely, I could remote work that.
Yeah.
So that was a remote job, trying to conjure up some help for you, which eventually worked. Would it take me 90 minutes to get a car moving officially in your direction? And that was with calling people and trying to get other people's phone numbers.
Yeah. And when you're relying on like friends or somebody else who, you know, doesn't normally support you, you just kind of have to like, I get what I get.
Yeah.
You know, if something goes wrong, if they don't have something that I wanted, or me, I try to, I still have that. I don't want to be a burden sometimes,
right?
You know, issue. And so I could want Tums, and I could want the tools and some kind of lube. And I mean, I could make a big list like other people do when they have their person there, but I'm like, I don't want to put that on you. So I'm going to make up a pack, a reservoir, and have it already in a U-Sweep pack or whatever. And so you just have to hand this thing to me, because I don't want you to have to do too much. You know, you're not my person. I'm going to ask the least, you know, I possibly can. And I mean, they probably wouldn't care, but that's just what happens to me, you know, when it's not someone who I'm used to supporting me, and I'm just kind of tagging along with what's already happening, which happens to me a lot. I mean, I get invited to stuff a lot, you know, hey, we're doing this, you know, you want to sign up for it? Yeah, I do. And then it doesn't always work out that you can go. And so,
I mean, you've also gotten, I would say over the years, you've gotten faster, and then you have a certain expectation for how you want your SAG stops to go. You've also become more aware of nutrition.
Yeah.
So you've become pretty like regimented on how you want your packs, and how many carbs you want in your packs, and how often you want one, and exactly, like, I'm going to say that your plan for something like Unbound, and you mapping it out, or our plan that we put together for drop bags for like Kohata Big Frog, is vastly different than how you used to race.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
I forget that.
Yeah, you didn't do all that before.
Like, I'm trying to sound like I'm super easy, and I'm not concerned about it, but you know, like, I know what you're referring to, like the last Leadville, and I put electrical tape on the bottles, and I put names on them for where they were going to go, because you and Molly were in two different spots.
Yeah.
And I had caffeine in some, and I had different flavors that I wanted to switch up flavors, and it was, yeah, it seemed really regimented and kind of like that's a lot to think about. But it was also so you guys didn't have to think about much. Like you could look on the bottle and say, this is, this has got my name on it. I'm going to have these bottles at Lost Canyon. This is inbound. This is outbound.
Right.
There's no question on what bottle I hand you.
Right.
So
I mean, that's how it
kind of
should
takes
be.
the pressure off your SAG person too, which is nice for them.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's how it should be. Like the rider, or if you're a runner, this applies universally in any long distance event. Like the more you communicate and the more you write down and the more you label things, like the better it is for your crew. Especially if your crew is crewing for more than one person. But yeah, I can see where you don't want to ask for as much from somebody that's not your normal crew like me, because I know you better than everyone else, so I could see where it might feel like you're being overwhelming to somebody that you don't really know if you want exactly, if you start writing down in bullet points on note cards that you want exactly 2.5 Tums and one water bottle and a plain water bottle and like a sip of salt, like I don't know, like if you start being oddly specific, but you kind of want to be because you know what's going to make your race go well.
Yeah, you're trying to make it, everything line up and everything you can to not have any issues. And that this last at Unbound, I was really hoping that, because I had a cooler and I had a pack and a bottle at each stop, each of the 3 checkpoints, but they were different because there were different time intervals in between the stops. So
like a 3-hour pack.
I had a 2.5. I had 2.5 hour packs and 1 3-hour pack, with different colors packs.
Right.
And I had that wrote down on a card. And I was really hoping that our SAG person, they were going to be able to park by the road and just have the cooler in the back of the truck or something, and I could just pull up and get my stuff out because I knew what I needed. But like the night before, I found out that he couldn't park next to the road, next to the course. He was going to load everything in a cart and drag it over there.
That's always fun.
So I was like, that should be fine, except he's got to do that for 3 people.
I say, yeah, how many people?
And he's got 3 cards, and I've got 3 packs. Would it be a big deal if I got a 3-hour pack when I needed a 2.5-hour pack? Probably not. But, and I mean, that's one of the things we wanted to talk about is what's more stressful, being a racer or being a crew person? Because it was his first time, and like I had a black and an orange and a white pack, but Kevin also, or I think it was actually Isaac, he had a black Usui pack. We both didn't even realize that we both wanted that black one at the first checkpoint. So our SAG person put everything in the cart that was on our card, but when he got there, it's like there's 2 Usui packs laying there. I don't know which one's which now because they're not. They're exactly the same, and I just put them in the cart, and now they're on the ground there. And then luckily I had like a 3-hour pack, so it was barely closing, so I could tell that which one was mine. But yeah,
it was a fat Usui pack laying on the ground.
It is
roly poly.
It's very stressful when you're trying to support and chase riders.
Yeah.
I mean, you could speak to that at Leadville.
Yeah. Well, I would say the first Leadville, I had to have been more nervous than everybody else on the starting line because I couldn't even eat until you went by me. I don't know. I was a ball of nerves. I don't know. It feels like your crew could make or break your race too. You know that if you mess something up, you just messed up somebody's race, and it's not just their race. They've been training for that for how many months now. Like, don't be the person that messes it up.
Yeah.
Like that's the pressure I feel as crew is like, don't mess this up. Memorize the note card. Have everything laid out, but don't lay it out too early. Don't let the pack get hot on the ground. You still want to be cold, and don't make sure none of the hoses got pinched, because when I crewed for more than one person at Leadville, now I got to keep everyone's stuff straight, and I also had to cart that stuff up a gravel road for 17 miles at least.
Of course it was. Yeah,
terrible.
it does feel like it.
Yeah, it's uphill both ways to the truck and back. That the it's not smooth. Like you think when you're driving up, that's another thing too. Like that's all hidden labor. Like when you drive up to the sag area, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like the sag area is where I'm gonna set my canopy. Like, all right, yes, where crew belongs. Okay, just park the truck, whatever. But then like you load that stuff in a cart, and even if your cart has like bigger wheels on it, and you start dragging it, and the wheels are wobbling, and it's shaking your arm, and it's like, your back is murdered by the time you get to the part where you even get to set up your canopy. Your back and your arm and your shoulder is already murdered, and you got to go back down to the truck because you couldn't fit everything in it in the first pass. Like, yeah, and we're just like, yeah, no, I'll crew for you. Yeah, I'll crew for you for free. It's fine. No big deal. That's fun. Let me just stress myself out with all of the U-Sweet packs and bottles and 3 people I need to hand stuff to and set up a canopy. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and you can't, some people want to ride by and not stop and grab stuff.
Yeah, which I'll give them the option if they want to. You can stop if you want
But
to.
they need to tell you that. You need to tell your SAG crew what your expectations are.
Yeah. Well,
Because
right, because
if
some people
you-
have like they have like so many mini meltdowns. Like the rider rolls up and like they want their stuff immediately and they wanted it on their back immediately. Like they were throwing stuff down.
This
And
is
then-
not any of us that you've
Oh yeah,
witnessed.
of course. Of course, yeah, nobody that I've ever seen or known. Yeah, they wanted their stuff yesterday. So and then other guys roll up and like they're totally chill. So again, that goes back to kind of if you're crewing for somebody on your team, like you might want to get to know them a little bit, and you might want to figure out if they're going to be a little high maintenance on that day, which is fine. They can be whatever kind of rider they want to be, but you should be prepared for that if you're going to crew. You should be prepared if somebody's going to come in and be hot, or or if you think that they're going to come in hot but and they're not and something's wrong, that's also a little bewildering to be the crew person and the only person, and you see them and you're like, they're not doing good, but I don't know how to fix it either. Like I don't have any tools to fix whatever's happening with them, and they're not going to tell me that either because we don't know each other that well. Like I'm not going to be able to fix you. But I'll hand you your pack. Here's your pack, and here's what you asked for per the note card, and carry on about your way. But
Yeah, that's when you can internalize things that are out of your control. And the racer gives you their expectations. And as long as you meet those, that's all you can do. Like if they ask for something else and you have it available.
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like as the crew person, you kind of have a responsibility to, like, like nobody in the middle of Leadville actually has all of their brain cells put together to articulate what they need. So, yeah, I mean, they can communicate that beforehand. Like, hey, previously on this course, or hey, when I've raced before. But then also, like, if you're an experienced crew member, maybe you could make a call for them to give them something extra.
Yeah. It's been my experience, my limited experience, that racers don't really make the best SAG crew. Like the people that are used to doing the SAG crew and have experience at it. And they know, like Molly knows that if I ask something, if I say, hey, make me drink water when I come in, or tell me to take off my arm sleeves, or when I get there, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, you just have to do it for them.
So you have to do it for them. And because when I had a couple racers at Leadville one year, and I said, like, I'm going to come in and just switch packs out or just switch bottles out, but I want you to have a bottle of just water, and I don't ever drink enough water. So remind me, like, hand me the bottle of water and say, here, take some swigs of this. And I got in there and they're all nervous and they're giving me stuff. And then I just take off and I get a mile away and I was like, crap, I didn't drink any water.
Yeah.
Like all day I was like not remembering, and nobody was remembering. It was fine, but
Right.
somebody who's experienced at that and knows that the racers aren't thinking, and they just want to get in and out and get their stuff that they know they need, and those little extra things that they want, they're not gonna remember to ask for that. So
Right. Because you're not in that headspace. You're not really even expected to be in that headspace. That's why you wrote it down or asked for it or we did the like a pre-ride meeting, like a crew meeting, basically, to get all this ironed out, which I think is a good thing to do. I'm also I'm reflecting on some of like the blog posts and some of the things I've seen when you crew for an ultra, and it's very similar. Like everyone's kind of doing like their post Cocodona like blog posts, and they're talking about crewing a little bit and like what you need to do as a successful crew member for your racer.
That's got to be way tougher when they're out there for days.
I mean,
And
it
you're
is
just hallucinating.
but like if you expect your Leadville racer to not have any brain cells either, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're at altitude and you come in with a blank slate of a face and no thoughts because you just ride your bike. It has to be. I don't want to say it's the same thing. It has to be eerily similar to watch a runner come in hallucinating and like lack of sleep, and just know that you have the responsibility to take care of them the way that they told you to in the pre-race meeting. They said, hey, this is how I want to run my race. This is plan A, B, and C. This is how I want my SAG. And then if you're an experienced crew member, then you can probably start to make calls based on their condition, because the races don't always go to plan. But yeah, I think that, I mean, the dynamics of being a crew member, and you can have a whole conversation on how to be a good crew member, and you can turn around and then have another conversation about the logistics of the race and the planning for the race and organizing and figuring out your pace plan, how many carbs you need, what your liquid's going to be, what your sodium's going to be, what nutrition you want at what SAG stop, because you have to do all that work in advance of your crew even getting the note card. Like you have to do all that pre-planning, spreadsheeting. Yeah, like I did one long distance mountain bike race so far in my career. Big Frog. The actual sheet that I made myself for my drop bags looked crazy.
Did you enjoy it though? Like, did you enjoy the process of figuring out and doing the math and what are you going to need for each stop, how far away the stops are? And because I kind of enjoy that part.
Yeah, I do like that. And if you can sit down and work through that in your head, then I feel like that sets you up better for your race, because you kind of have the race like broke down into tiny chunks in your brain of like what needs to happen every several hours. So like we did for Oak Mountain 50K. Like we knew where the sags were. We knew how many gels we wanted to pick up. We knew, if we're going to stop or not, or what we wanted to pick up. But yeah, that kind of breaks the race down a little bit too for you. So it doesn't seem like one big giant race that's insurmountable and overwhelming to think about. Like, no, you just break it down into every 2 or 3 hours for your SAG.
Yeah, break it down into 8-mile runs stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, because you have, a lot of, from what I've seen, just on my research for the couple of ultras that we're doing this year and the long distance mountain bike things that we're doing, it's like you're never really 2 or 3 hours away from a SAG stop. And like that's doable. The only exception is going to be Margie, which I haven't gotten into Margie too much on like SAG stops because that is something that does feel like a little overwhelming. And if every time I open that GPX file, I'm like, oh, and then I decide I'm going to look at the nighttime 50K logistics instead.
I could tell some stories on Margie because if the question is it more stressful to race or be a SAG crew? In my opinion, being SAG is way more stressful because I SAG'd for a buddy last year at Margie, and I'd been on the other side, so I know how you want everything ready, and he's a guy who wants it on the fly.
Yeah.
Usually.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, calculated it down to the seconds. He's trying to get that buckle.
So he was buckle chasing also.
Yeah, so you can't mess that up.
No.
So
can't be your fault.
I watched him start, and we took his truck, and he knows this, but whenever he took off, I'm like, there's limited parking at the first SAG area. And I wouldn't say I'm rally driving his truck down the gravel roads, but I made it to the first sag in 35 seconds,
Yeah, I mean you're
and I had hours,
mm-hmm.
and I could see his location, but you can't relax.
No.
You can't go
Mm-mm.
mess around. You get the table set up, you get all the stuff set out way too early, and then a half hour later, other people start coming in and sitting there. I had the best spot though.
Right.
You
Well, I
know,
didn't even watch. I mean, I'm just like telling stories to relate to you, but I didn't really watch the start of Leadville. I was driving your truck down Lost Canyon Road. I was there right as soon as they said that you were allowed to be there.
yeah.
And
And I'm there 3 hours later, but
yeah, yeah, literally, that is the right before you guys climb up Columbine. So I had hours upon, I mean, I probably could have drove to a truck stop and ate breakfast and I went back and then drug all the stuff up there. But it didn't feel like that. It did not feel like I had that kind of time. It felt like I parked the truck. I was still too far away somehow. Even though I was one of the first ones there, I was still too far away to drag all that stuff up there. I had no time to do any of it. I felt like I had no time to sit down before I mean, and it was literally, I had everything set up and I was like, all right, I'm going to take a little break over here at these porta potties. The elites were coming through. I mean, the elites were literally coming through. I'm like, I literally, I don't have time
yeah. And of
to
course,
sit
we're
down.
right behind the elites, right?
In my mind, you were drafting off the elites, all of
Yeah,
you,
I was right behind Keegan, tucked,
all of you.
super tucked because he's a small guy.
That's what it feels like though when you're crew. Like,
Well, also at some point, if you're gonna sag for people or crew for people, you're gonna have to be the motivator in chief also
yeah,
because they're gonna want to quit. And I mean that happened. I don't know how much he really wanted to quit, but I think he realized he wasn't gonna buckle the third time. The second time he came through the same sag, I was there for both. He didn't have to move, which was nice. But and he, like he could see the truck, and he's like, I think I'm done. I'm spent. I don't have anything left. And I was like, you're so close.
hey,
Like,
you look great.
yeah, you like all you only have this far to go, and if you only have to do this mile per hour, to get the buckle. You can still do it. Let's go. Like, let me go get your lights. And he did. I don't know how much he really wanted to quit, but in my mind, it was like, you're gonna feel so much better after like if you don't finish it, like the next day, you're just gonna be mad, and you're gonna be mad for a while. And I mean, he's obviously gonna come back because he didn't buckle, but when he did actually finish, he looked way better than at the last sag, and he was happy, and he was thanking their race director like, this is a great event, and yeah, spirits were up. So
Yeah, I mean, nothing is ever permanent, especially on the race course. Like you could be having the worst time ever, and then you get some carbs, you get a fresh pack, you get some cold
second wind.
liquid, and yeah, now all of a sudden you feel way better. So you get some salt.
Yeah, that feeling of DNFing and then dealing with that is not fun because I'm still dealing with that, like seeing all the videos from Unbound and all the friends who finished, and
Everyone's race recaps.
there was a whole lot of stuff I didn't get to see out there.
Yeah.
150 miles of the course I didn't get to see, and yeah, and there's no guarantee I'll get in next year. Like, I'm gonna try, but it's a lottery. It's not like you can just sign up. So
Well, you're gonna try to go for a qualifier, aren't you?
yeah, I'm gonna yeah.
Big
We
Sugar.
talked about that. Hey, what do you think about me signing up for Big Sugar, even though I wasn't gonna do it? And we've got all these other events, but it became a priority all of a sudden because I didn't finish this race, so now I got to go, slay that dragon.
Right. Well, yeah. My only point when you're asking me was to just say, hey, like, you were really not really into this race before you left for the race, and you're talking about doing other super demanding thing around the same time frame. So I was just trying to gut check a little bit. Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure that's the race you want to spend all your energy on? Just double checking before you sign up for a qualifier. But
Yeah,
I mean, sure.
part of this podcast is talking about being in a relationship and doing these things, and I can be honest and say that initial, like, I know you've mentioned wanting to be a part of decisions, and of course that's a big decision and that's a lot of money, and we're living together and making budgets and talking about our finances, so
Yeah.
I can't just willy-nilly sign up for a $200 or whatever race without at least having your input.
Yeah, at least want to feel like a part of the decision.
Yeah, but when you started saying, "Are you sure that you wanted like you this wasn't on your mind?" and so I got that little twinge of, "Hey, wait a minute. Are you telling me I can't race? I don't know if I like this." But
Yeah, no, I'm never telling you you can't race. We're just trying to be the gut check. Like, lots of emotions here. Lots of emotions around Unbound. Not sure if that's gonna be something you actually wanted to do, but if it is, like, that's fine.
yeah, and I needed that. Like, okay, take a minute. Like you're upset,
Yeah,
and you know you didn't get to finish this race, and you're seeing all the videos, and you're upset. So take a minute, just sit with that, sit with that pain, and actually ask yourself if it's something you actually want to do. And
but I think that's how everybody signs up for every race. Is like it's probably not a logical decision. Is I mean, where in the world would it be a logical decision to sign up for half of the stuff that we do sign up for? So yeah, it has to be emotion. And then you just have to put some like systems and processes and a little bit of discipline and some motivation and some inspiration behind all that, and then you show up to the race trained for it. But it's probably as pure emotion when you do sign up for it. You're like, "Oh my god, that would be so much fun. Wouldn't that be so cool to tell everybody that I ran a 50K? Like, wouldn't that be so cool to tell myself that I ran a 50K? Like, that seems out of this world to do that." And then I trained all winter for it. I was like, wow, I ran a 50K.
and then you wonder, what can I actually? Where is my limit? I'm not sure
Yeah.
where it's at.
Yeah, I'm laying in the hotel bed. That's off on a tangent for sure, but laying in the hotel bed, like feeling half crippled with weird toe blisters. And I'm like,
Very weird.
very strange toe blisters. And I'm like, I'm just gonna, what else? What else is on ultra sign up though? I mean, I'm just checking my results, but like, what other things are out there? Because I just finished this. And I negative split the last couple miles a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, what
You
else
crushed
can I
my
do?
soul on the last 5
Yeah.
miles with your negative splits. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What happened to the pace we were running all day? What are you doing?
It was downhill.
Yeah.
It was full send. But yeah, it was like, okay, so what else can I do? But yeah, that's pure emotion. You just finished a race. You're wrecked, absolutely destroyed. And then you get some DoorDash and relaxation time, and you're scrolling the signups again. You're like, oh man, I could probably do more. I could probably run further. I could probably run faster. I could probably run further and faster. I could beat my time. But yeah, I don't know. I'm off on a tangent about
No, it's a good
races
tangent
being
because
emotional, but
yeah, we could talk about the excitement and the adrenaline rush, addictive nature of being on the start line and competing, and then when it's over and you're just back to your job, that's when you
Yeah.
start. What's next?
yeah, it is. Well, yeah, but going back to your job is the worst. It is. It's the worst. You just did like the hardest thing you've ever done in your life so far that weekend. You go back to your job and you open up your work email to the company newsletter about the whatever the hell, and you're like, this is such a letdown.
Yeah.
Like, this is dumb compared to what I just did. Okay, let me go back to my spreadsheet trackers and my emails and my meetings and stuff. People wanting me to do things for them.
Yeah, and it's hard to let people know what you actually just did. I mean, I do have people asking me, like, I tell them, because now they're like, where are you riding at this weekend? Like, where are you going? What events you got? And, obviously you won't have an event every weekend, but more often than not, I can say, I just got back from North Carolina, or I just got back from Georgia, or,
Yeah.
wherever. And, okay, how many miles did you do? Everybody knew that I had 200 miles. That was my longest event. And so how was that? Well, I had
then
to,
you have to.
had to tell them the story.
Yeah. People in my office were asking, before I moved offices, they were asking me a little bit about what I was doing and where I was going, and they seemed genuinely interested, but also it's probably really hard for them to understand
Of course.
really what it is that you go through or do, or what kind of training schedule you put yourself on. But yeah, we could have a whole extra podcast on that. We don't have to get off on a crazy
No, I think this is going to be
tangent.
our podcast because it's just conversations that we normally have, and it's just real.
Yeah.
It's real world. It's real being in a relationship, training for events. Like some people will ask me, like, how do you, that's crazy. You rode a century over the weekend. And to me, it's like, when I look at my phone and Strava, because I follow way too many people and I try to give everybody kudos, so I see a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's 100 people on there, seems like, that are doing more than I am. So it doesn't seem like anything to me.
Right.
But to the average person that doesn't cycle or run, they
Right.
think we're lunatics.
Yeah, they
You
do.
know, so it's all relative. So whatever group you're in, you know, like I seem like a lunatic to the people that I work around. But then when you go on a group ride, like, you're slacking. I haven't seen
Right.
you ride in a day. Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's think about that. We seem like we're the fittest people on earth to our coworkers.
Yeah, we're not.
And then we show up
You
to
are. I'm not.
we show up to like a run, or I go to a mountain bike event and I'm like mid to back of the pack at
Mid-pack
best.
Jack.
At best. Also, I know, like, I understand that was the first couple of times, the first 2 long distance events I've done. I'm talking about Big Frog and Oak Mountain again. Clearly, when you do an event for the first time, you're going to have more on the table, but you have to just do it for the first time because you don't even know what to expect. But yeah, at work, but she's crazy. You're crazy. You're doing 2 workouts a day. You ran how many miles over the weekend? You went where with your mountain bike? I
You're
was like,
getting up at what time in the
yeah.
morning?
Yeah, you're
Going
getting
to
up
the gym before work?
going to the gym before work, and you're doing another workout after work. Yeah, like, we do all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, I did all that, and then I'm gonna finish, like, not last, but like I'm not even on the podium though. Like, I'm doing all this work to be like mediocre at this sport.
No, you're getting really good. Every
Well,
time we
thanks.
mountain bike together, I notice some extra things that you're doing better, and
Thanks.
you're doing really good.
You know, it's just funny to me. Like, I know I'm putting in work. I know I have room to grow for sure. This is the first year of like what you would consider an ultra endurance year for me. Yeah, just the stark contrast of when you show up to a field of other competitors. Other competitors are also amateurs. Like, they have 9 to 5 jobs too. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I finished 130 out of 150.
Yeah. I mean, how much time do you have to train? That's the big question. And I think, I mean, we have a unique kind of experience where, like, we're spending time together when we're training.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, I feel fortunate that I'm not having to spend time away from my loved ones to train. Like, some people have to make that decision, and it's really cool to be able to ride with you and train and run. And it's quality time for us when we're out, you know, getting better and getting fitter. And we both want to eat well and get, you know, we're both trying to put more emphasis on getting enough sleep so we can motivate each other. Hey, like, your watch alarm was going off during the podcast. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it was.
bedtime. You know, sometimes we don't make it in bed when we're supposed to, but yeah, I've been getting a lot more sleep
Yeah.
lately, and you know, you can see your HRV going up. It's been good. It's been good for me.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I guess we should wrap it up so we can get ready for this week in training. We still didn't get to the other.
No, we didn't make it halfway through the, well, yeah, and it's fine.
The
We
proposed
can make a
agenda.
list of things we want to talk about, and then we'll just get off on tangents, and, you know, it'll be interesting or not. People want to listen to it, but it's real. These are the conversations we have, not on camera. So do you want to sign off?
I guess so. Yeah, because we need to go to bed so we can
Get up at 5.
get up at 5 and do our training and go to work and do our second training after work. Yeah, I could tell we were sitting here for a while because my hip started to cramp up after the cat was sitting on it. And I was like, well, I
The
look
cat's
like
was being such a good boy.
he is being a good. I'm just going to look like I'm lounging out now because my hip got stiff. But that's also,
Yeah,
that's
it's
also
been
very real.
over an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at some point in the future, we'll talk about our 2 different training plans. We're trying to train together, and I still haven't gotten to talk about my DIY fuel. And by the time we talk about it, I'll have all kind of
Experience
feedback on that.
yeah. Gut feedback.
Yeah. And the AI and training, but we might have to re-record the beginning to try to get the introduction right.
Yeah, whatever we need to do.
Okay. Well,
Episode 3.
yeah, this was episode 3. Like and subscribe. We'll put more episodes out. We're working on it. I'm an editor, creative director over here, working on our software.
Yeah, I'm learning the
Clearly, this
software.
is like the first 3 episodes we've ever done in our life, so we're getting it.
Yeah, it feels natural now.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah. Like and subscribe, and then we'll see you again next week.
Okay, goodbye.